about to leave. Already packing, come with me. I'm not really.
Hello friends and enemies. Welcome back to Happy For Now. It's me Isabel here with my recent reads slash what I've read in the first 15 or so days of this month. Yeah, mid-month wrap up, whatever you want to call it. Let's get right into it. I've read about, I think, 11 books so far this month, so I'm doing pretty good. Again, very busy, so much going on. But I'm very happy with what I've read so far this month, and I've got a great list going, and I will also tell you about what I'm currently reading, because I do have a couple books in progress at the moment. Big surprise, I know. I think the biggest news of the year is that I hit my reading goal actually last night, like the day before, like on the 14th, I hit my reading goal. I've read 365 books this year. It has been a pipe dream goal of mine to hit this number, and I'm so excited I finally did it. So if you have questions for how I read so much, leave them in the comments for me. I'm asking you this now because I will be doing a video where I talk about how I read so much and what I do, and I'll also have a question box up on Instagram if you want to leave a question or have a question about it there. So please do that. But yeah, let's dive on into all the books I've been reading. I've had such a nice mix. So first things first, I read Darius the Great is Not Okay. And I really, really like this. I gave this 4 stars, maybe 4.5. This is really about like depression and what depression looks like in real life. Like, because depression's not always just like sitting in a brown, like dark room and like being sad. Like, it's still living your life a lot of the time and being sad and just a lot of other things going on around you. And it follows Darius, who goes to Iran with his family to go see family he's never seen, and he has an ailing grandfather who's dying, and it's the first and only time he'll ever get to meet him. And it's all about him like going back there and doing that, his life in, I think it was Portland? Seattle? One of the two. I cannot remember, y'all. I think it was Portland. I'm 99% sure it was Portland. I might be wrong though. Anyways, his life there. He's also queer. And it's just really, honestly, was just such a touching, really character-driven story that I adored. I do want to give a quick content warning for a brain tumor, an ill grandparent, racism, depression, and suicidal thoughts. Again, I think the book is tackling a lot of heavy subjects here in a really wonderful way, especially for a YA where I think like it could be very beneficial to teens. This read like a book I would have loved as a teen. Next, we have Undercover Attraction by Katie Robert. This is also a 4-star read. This is an opposites attract with enemies to lover fake relationship. So this follows Aiden O'Malley, who's the head of the O'Malley family, and Charlotte, a disgraced cop. She got kicked off the squad for not agreeing with some bad practices they were doing, and they have to pretend to be in a relationship and engaged. And it is like for an enemies to lovers, like Aiden is very like pokey on his like the steam level here, like in a good way. He very much is like engaging Charlotte in a way that I was just like, ooh, I like this. This book was much steamier than the other books tend to be in the beginning, and I liked how it built and how their enemies to lovers slash relationship developed. I really, really think this was such a solid one in this series. Then I went on a little like Audible original adventure because I wanted holiday books, but I wanted short ones. So I listened to by Julie Lipson. This is an Audible original. I gave it 2.5 stars. This is one that I don't think is worth a listen. This is another, like, it's well narrated as all the Audible originals are, but I felt like the story was like a little too rushed and lacking. So they get stuck in a small town in Italy, and they are like snowed in basically and can't leave, and it's Christmas Eve, and like her fiance is calling her all angry, and she's talking to her the guy that she was like stuck with, and they like bonded, I guess, and ended up in love. And it was like really cute, like their romance part, but like it just fell flat. So it was just a 2.5. Like it wasn't like bad enough that I'm like roasting it. It just was like, I read that, it was fine. I could have done without reading it. Then we have 8 Winter Nights by Liz Maverick. And this is a Hanukkah romance, and this was really cute. I gave this 4 stars. And this is a best friend's ex, which I don't normally like, but this really worked for me. So we start with them meeting a year or a couple years before, and then we flash forward to after they broke up, and he needed help because he had hurt his foot and was in a cast. So the friend, the girl, she caretakes for him, and it kind of follows their like relationship, and it was very cute, very fun. I actually like really, really liked this. I was surprised by how much I liked this. And I think it was just a good Hanukkah romance. It wasn't like overly Hanukkah-y, I guess, if that makes sense. But it was really cute how they came together, and like the best friend was actually like trying to force them together because she realized that they were meant to be. And I enjoyed that part of it. Like, it made it work. Again, not my favorite trope usually, but for some reason it really worked well. Okay, so the next book I read was Hanukkah Carries On by Uzma Jalaluddin. I think that's right. I went and listened to something and I hope I got it right. This was such an interesting book. I gave it 3.5 stars. I did read it because it was going to be featured on Beta Mates, and I've wanted to read Uzma's books before and I haven't gotten around to Aisha at last, so I knew that like this would be a good motivator, and I did. I got the audio from the library. I gave it 3.5 stars, but let's talk about who this book maybe is or isn't for. So first things first, I do want to say that this is like a You've Got Mail but competing restaurants situation, modern day. Really, really cute book. Really great story. It is completely closed door. There is nothing on page. I think they kiss at the end and that's it, possibly. Like, this is like, you could give this to anybody. Romance, okay? Like, there is nothing there besides them falling in love. And it was really good, and I really, really liked it for that fact. And I really enjoyed it for being a closed door. I really liked the storylines that were happening, but again, there were like 5 of them. So the main storyline is that Hana Khan's family has a restaurant that is halal, and there is a new one opening across the street to compete, and she's very mad about it. And the guy there is cute but also annoying, and she's also hosts a podcast called Brown Girl Rambles, where she talks about things and is anonymous, and there's a podcast listener that she communicates with regularly named Stanley, and that user and her talk like through email or whatever, and we go from there. But some of the other plot lines following are like her family visiting from overseas. There's like a job plot line thing happening, and then just a lot going on. There's too much. So for the plot lines alone, I had to mark it down because I just was like overwhelmed while I listened to it. But it does have a really great story, really great message. I think it's still a great read for a lot of people. A big content warning here for Islamophobia. There is definitely some white supremacist behavior and an ill parent. So I would let you know about that. But overall, it was really fun. Like, it was good. It just like suffered from too many plot lines. Like, I feel like we needed like 1 or 2 of them plucked. Then I read Sagas Volume 1 and 2 for the live show, which was over on Ashley at Bookish Realms channel. If you're curious, we will be reading Volumes 3 and 4 and meeting November 30th to discuss. So if you're interested, be sure to get caught up and come join us to talk about them. It'll be at 9 o'clock, I think. It'll be a fun time. I'm very excited. I gave these 4.5 stars. I love Saga. This is my second read through of Saga. I haven't read the first 2 volumes in 7 years, so I did not remember some of the slurs that are in this book. And again, this is a discussion, I've mentioned it in vlogs and other things. Comics are very behind when it comes to these things, and I'm not saying that makes it okay. It just is a fact. When you read comics, like, there will be things in comics that you're like, how? And then you realize like, oh yeah, comics has just like recently, like I'm not joking, recently been getting it together as far as diversity and how to represent people and how to be inclusive. So just know that going in, there's some slurs. That's why I give it a 4.5, but it is like a 6-star favorite series for me. I just don't publicly rate it 6 stars because I don't want people to think like that there's no harm in these books. These books are heavy too. This is a space opera family journey. It is narrated by the 2 people on the cover's daughter, and we know it's not going to be a good ending. Okay, this is a violent manga as well. There is sex on the, or manga comic, there is sex on the page, there is murder, death on the page, just a lot happening. And I think that it was just really fun to revisit. I'm really excited to read volumes 3 and 4 for the next live show. Then I read I'll Be the One by Lila Lee. This is a 5-star for me. This is a YA K-pop competition show. I had an arc of this when it came out and I never got around to it, so I finally did. I'm working on catching up on arcs. So I loved this. This was so stinking cute. So we have a plus size girl named Sky. She enters to compete in this K-pop show for dance and singing. so she does both components of the show and the competition. And she gets in, and like her mom is like mortified because her mom is like very ashamed of her fatness. And it's so cute, and it's her and like this cute boy falling in love, and y'all, it was so good. I just like, honestly, if this interests you at all, the premise, you need to pick it up. It's so good. This definitely is one of those ones that like for me just hit the spot. I also love that we had both main characters were bi, so that was really exciting. Both of them were like struggling with different things in their youth, like as teenagers. You know, both of them had struggles with their parents, but like the parents were so present for Sky, which I enjoyed as well. Yeah, it just so cute. Loved how it all worked out. Great audiobook. Cannot recommend enough. Then I read Moon of the Crusted Snow. So this is by Wabushiki Rice. This is an Indigenous Canadian First Nations. I'm not going to try and say his tribe because I'm going to butcher that. This is a dystopian literary fiction kind of situation. I gave this 3 stars, maybe 3.5. I'm still noodling on it. My struggle with this one is that I really liked the beginning. This is a very like slow plotting opening of a like novel, right? Like it's a novella basically, really. Very slow opening, but it also like so it's slow, but like also you're like interested because it's about this community, and like all of a sudden the power goes out and cell phones are down, and they're more isolated out. They're more out and isolated, so they don't know what's happening in the city. And it's them like figuring out how they're gonna survive and what's going on. And I really liked those aspects of it. And then I felt like at a certain point it took a turn. We had a certain character show up, and things with them were weird. And then we followed that, and that's when the pacing, like the beginning is like very slow in like in an atmospheric way. And then the end was like fast and not as atmospheric, which is what I wanted out of the book. So I just kind of left it feeling I definitely think for some people this is gonna hit and like they're gonna freaking love it. But I'm definitely like somebody who's like, this was fine. So 3. Again, not terrible, it was fine. So I'm glad I read it. I've wanted to read it for a while, so I'm glad I finally picked it up at the end of the day. Then I read Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey, the Christmas romance I was so excited for. And it took me a while to get through it because I had so many other things to read. But this is 5 stars for me. I loved it. I love Tessa Bailey though. This is no surprise. This character, Aiden, is semi-inspired by Ted Lasso, and you can see it. He's a very sunshiny, very sweet. And then we have Stella, who is a felon. She just got out of prison and got a job doing the windows at this fancy department store. And we really follow her journey of coming into herself after her time in prison and what that is for her and how she can do that, and like finding herself worthy, because she kind of like always let herself be identified by this friend and all these other things. And it's so good. And she's like following her dream, and it's so cute. And Aiden is like very respectful. It is a boss employee relationship trope situation. So she is like outside the window critiquing their old display, and then he's like, you should apply to the job. And then he interviewed everyone for the job and then hired her. So like he felt like she was qualified when he interviewed her. It wasn't just like, I like you, I'm gonna hire you necessarily. But if boss employee is not your trope, this is a skip for you. I think that that's an auto skip, because like you just don't pick it up. But I really like this. Aiden was so sunshiny in the best way. And then when it came time for the bedroom, he was absolute filth, and I love it. I love a buttoned up hero who is like dirty as can be in the bedroom, and that was Aiden 100%. And he was really good about giving Stella the space she needed and like being willing to do that for her. And I love seeing that. I like a hero that knows that like you need your time and I'm gonna give you that time, versus someone who's like not doing that. Yeah, 5 stars. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So yeah, if that sounds like your kind of catnip, like he's sunshine, she's grumpy, definitely pick it up. If it's not, I would skip. It probably will not be a 5-star for you. Hi, I'm editing and I realized I missed a book, so I want to talk about it real quick. This was a 5-star read, so I want to make sure I included it because it's a fall book, so I felt like y'all might want to read it now. It's called Fall Into You by Georgina Kirsten, and I gave this 5 stars. This is a sapphic small town romance, and it was so cute. So sweet. Absolutely loved it. I did get an ARC from the author, but I still loved it. It is on Kindle Unlimited, I'm pretty sure. I will note it down below if it is. And I just wanted to share that this was like adorable. So this is about a girl, she moves to a new town. She goes to the fall festival. She runs into somebody she knew as a kid. So this is like childhood friends to lovers kind of. And she didn't know she lived in the town, and it's them like reconnecting. And it just was so great. And then there was like some tension with like bad family. And it shows her like dealing with her bad family in such a delightful way. And I just, y'all, it's so, so good. I highly recommend this if you want a fall sapphic romance. It was delightful. Let's talk about my currently reading though. So I'm currently reading 3 books. 3? Is it only 3? Yes, it's 3 books. I totally thought I had 4 going at once, and I was like, what am I doing to myself? So I have Oharu Ride Volume 10. I literally just got it back from the library, so I was reading this and it got ripped off my phone after my flight and I lost it. So I was like, no, no, no. So it came back. I'm going to be finishing this today, so by the time you see this, I will have a review up on Goodreads for this one. I have no thoughts on it yet. I'm like 4 or 5 pages in. I'm so mad that it got ripped away from me, but it's fine. We're going to read it today. Then I'm reading Payback's a Witch by Lana Harper. This is the sapphic witch romance from Berkeley, who is like, okay, so I have like a love-hate with Berkeley Publishing. They are like I never know if I'm gonna like their books or not. Like it's 50-50 on if I like a Berkeley book. Just is what it is. This one so far I'm at 25%. I'm really, really enjoying it. I was listening to it last night while I did stuff around the house and honestly didn't even realize how far I had been in the book or how much time had passed because I was so engaged with the story. So this follows a girl who's a witch and she left home, and her name's Emmy, and she's like not a very powerful witch. She left home. She's working like in Chicago instead of like in rural wherever they are. I think Illinois, I don't know. Anyway, she's working in the city doing her job. She needs to come home for this event that happens. I don't remember how often the event is, and read this grimoire and run the event. So she comes home for a month and she runs into, what is her name? Or no, she runs into Talia, who's like this badass like girl she knew from high school. She's a couple years older than her, at the bar, and like it's just them trying to uncover what is going on with the big witch family in town, and I'm really liking it. I'm very excited to finish it, hopefully very soon, maybe the same day this goes up, or hopefully within the day or so of this going up, I'll have finished it and reviewed it on Goodreads. But yeah, I really liked it so far, and it's super cute. I think it's just a fun, witchy romance adventure book. That's what I'm hoping for, and so far I'm happy about it. Definitely same thing as other witch books I've read recently that are newer, where it lacks a lot of world building that your paranormal books normally have. So I'm okay with that, but be forewarned. And then the other book I'm reading that I'm also like 25% through, I fell asleep last night reading it, is Love, Laugh, Lich by Kate Pryor. This is one of many books that I'm currently reading to do a big video where I review a bunch of the monster romance anthology that got canceled books that people then self-published. So this is one of them. She is the Lich's secretary. And you know, it's like 60 pages, so I'll be done with it very soon. And that video will be coming at you very, very soon as well. Because yeah, this is gonna be a fun one. But so far it's cute. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's interesting. She's kind of like not afraid of him, and everyone in the office is terrified of him, and it's just kind of funny, like their dynamic and how she feels versus how like people around him feel. Yeah, so that's all the books that I have read so far this month in November. If you made it this far, let me know your favorite book you've read so far this month, or if you have a monster romance you wish existed, because I'm currently getting a lot of these scratches itch that I didn't know I had. And if you don't want to do that, you can leave me a witch emoji, because I feel like that fits to my reading currently. And yeah, I will see y'all in just a few days. There'll be links to all those books in that description box, with those links to be my friend anywhere on the internet. I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking, we'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions, we'll get away. This is what we waited for.